G'day guys, welcome back to another video here on the Torq channel. On today's episode, we're working on Liam's VP Commodore Ute again.
That's it, yeah, we're back here on Liam's Ute. If you didn't see in the previous episodes, this is obviously a VP Commodore Ute. Got a stock bottom end 6 litre LS and this filthy 80mm Borg water turbo, so that's pretty cool. In the last episode you saw us modify the lower radiator support so that we can drop the radiator and also mount this badass Plasma Man intercooler.
That's it. So now it's time to plumb it all up basically. So I'm going to start over here at the hot side of the intercooler system. I've got to weld a plasma clamp on the turbo and basically I'm just going to follow it from where it starts all the way through to where it ends and yeah, get it done basically.
Sweet. Oh, let's get stuck into it, eh?
Yep.
No point waiting.
Let's do it. Woo!
So, one thing we probably didn't say, Kurt, why did you just cut a perfectly good V-band clamp off and then now we're just going to weld another V-band on there? What's the go there?
Well, it's not another V-band, it's plasma clamp.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit different to a V-band. First of all, and probably the most important thing, is you've got this movement in the clamp system. So
yeah, okay.
When the engine moves, when things heat up and expand and contract, you've got provision there for movement while still getting a seal from the two O-rings that are on there. So that's the best reason. And the other reason is, here we go here, these are V-bands. This is what I've just cut off. There's no O-ring seal or anything like that, so these are prone to slight leaks or major leaks depending on how you've welded it and how you've fabricated it. So a lot of the time you'll want to put a bit of RTV or something on these so they actually seal, and even once you do that you don't have the movement anyway, so you know they're just not as good basically. So Liam spent the money and we've plasma clamping the whole system, so it'll work mint, and they look awesome as well. So,
and we'll be able to show people once we get the cooler piping on there, just that little bit of movement that you do get that you don't get with a normal V-band, I guess. But you can see that on there you can see it's got that little receiver groove there just at the top here. That's where your O-ring sort of sits in there, and we'll be able to show you that as well. But yeah, I thought it was just important to tell people we just chopped a perfectly good V-band off because we're improving the system. So.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll glue that on now and then we can actually start mapping out the hot side cooler piping and go from there.
Sick. Let's get into it.
Yeah, man, that won't fall off.
Ain't going nowhere?
No, I'm pretty happy with that. So I've just mocked the clamp up, and this is the the movement we were talking about.
Yeah, that's it. That's
So-
what you don't get with a V-band. Hey, like with that, it's got the O-rings there to seal it, but you got that little bit of, especially when you're banging off the trans brake two-step or whatever.
Yeah, just whenever basically. This is, it has tough mounts in it, but you're still going to get a little bit of movement. Plus the manifold's going to get hot, which means it's going to grow. There's always going to be movement. It's a Commodore, so it's going to bloody buckle around. You know, they're not the best built cars in the world anyway. So, and they're just nice. That's why Liam got it. Liam don't care about any of that. That's just a bonus. He just likes nice things. So.
The best part about it is they're Australian made too.
Yeah, well, that's why we love them so much. We love Australian-made stuff. We're all about it.
Which is why we resign ourselves to the fact that we like to drive crappy Commodores.
That's
they're
it.
Australian made.
Australian-made shitboxes for the win.
Yeah, buddy.
Yep. So now, basically, I'll go and grab some mandrels, and I'll just start doing these ones, figuring out where I need to cut it, and that sort of thing, and hopefully we can get something mocked up pretty quick.
Yeah, sick. Let's get this hot side done.
Yeah, man. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, buddy, we're nearly there. That's fit up real nice.
Fit up's almost perfect, I'd say, which is really what you're chasing when you want to get a good weld.
Definitely.
I guess I'll tell the guys at home, spend the time, get your fit up as good as you can get it, and you've got your best chance of getting the nicest weld you can possibly do anyway. Make sure it's nice and clean. You'll see through the video I'm wiping everything with acetone all the time, and just spend the time to get the fit up good, and you'll be able to weld it as good as you can anyway. So the other thing I will note is we've used the long radius bends here. I try and use them wherever I can, as opposed to like just buying like a donut. You can buy long radius donuts, but they're still not quite as loose as what these normal mandrel bends are usually. So where you can use I like to use the loosest bend you can to get the best flow out of the system. It's probably not going to make much difference, but just I have these golden rules that I like to use, and I try and stay away from using tight radius bends when you don't need to. It looks a bit junky and a bit messy sometimes. So
yeah, like you said though, a tight radius means you're just going to cut down on your flow, and when you're trying to milk a little bit of extra horsepower, that can make all the difference.
yeah,
really.
it could, it might not, but it could. So
But it helps. It does help.
plus the aesthetics, I reckon it looks nicer anyway. So
Absolutely.
it might cost you a little bit more to buy the bends, to buy all these bends, and sometimes it's hard to figure out exactly what angle you want. But if you just buy 90s, you can chop them back as well. So there's 20 million different ways you can skin this cat, but this is the way I like to skin it anyway. So
So there you've used like a 75 degree, wasn't it? It wasn't.
yeah,
quite a 90?
these are 75s, and I've just shortened them up to suit. Like I said, if you get a good look at that fit up there, it's pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
The one thing with these plasma clamps is they're probably not as easy to, when you're fabricating your pipe work. With a silicon, you've got a bit of leeway with gaps and stuff, whereas with this, the fit up needs to be pretty good. There is a bit of movement, as you can see with these we've got the O-rings in these now, and they're like a final assembly, and you've still got heaps of room there to move, but definitely not as much room as if you've got a silicon. You can have two different pipes on different angles and that. So, but the end result is much nicer anyway. So
Yeah, for sure.
I'll fit this up. I'll put basically you would have seen it before. I'll put a line to mark the orientation. I'll take it over, tack it up, and I'll come back, do one last final fitment, and then this side's basically ready to weld, and we can move on to the other side, cut the hole, and start on that one. That side's going to be a fair bit trickier than this side. This was the easy side, so. Now that I've finished off the hot side intercooler piping, it's all fully welded, fully done. Now it's time to get onto the cold side of the intercooler piping. So there's a lot going on this one. We've got a transition from the 3.5 inch outlet on the intercooler, and it's a 4-inch pipe on the throttle body. So we've got to transition from 3.5 to 4 at some point, preferably in a spot where you can't see it just because it's a little bit ugly. So what I'm going to do is, I'll show you guys here, is we're going to have a 90 bend come off here, and I'm going to angle it on an upwards direction through this panel here. So basically what I'm going to do is just cut out a radius square panel. I think that's what I'll do, just to give myself some room to move it around and stuff. And then later on we can either make an aluminium panel to weld in, or we can weld it back in with sheet metal or whatever later, or we can leave it, whatever. But so I'm going to cut that out, and then I can start laying the bends in there, and we can basically just get to fiddling with the pipes and see how we go.
Kurt's access window is done as a rough cut, but a template will be made and the hole will be neatened up after final assembly.
So we're coming up to my favourite part of the job, actually my least favourite. I get to weld this plasma clamp to Liam's flash billet Holly throttle body that costs like over $1,000 or something. This is the first one I've ever done. One thing I did notice is, and you'll see in the video when Jeff pans in, I've just scuffed the hard anodizing off because I found the cleaning action wasn't really getting it off, wasn't flowing real well. So I just put on the linisher, knocked a bit of the anodizing off just so I've got a bit of a clear bit to weld. So now it's time to glue it on properly.
After a final test fit and everything in place, it's time for Kurt to drop some dimes.
Rightio guys, that's going to wrap up today's episode. All the piping's done. I'm really happy with it.
Oh man, how chunky does it look though? When there's nothing on the front here with the 3.5 inch going up to a 4 inch, man, it looks fat.
Yeah, it fit really good in the end. Like when we drop this down, it actually doesn't look like it would be a hard fit at all, but there's actually a bit of work in to get it to fit like this and to get the cooler and that fitted up. But it's the extra little details like that that make honestly all the difference, I reckon, when you're building a car. So overall I'm really happy with it. Even welding the plasma clamp on Liam's awesome bloody billet Holy Throttle body, I was a little bit apprehensive about ruining that. I've never done one before, but I've done it now. It was a piece of cake, and yeah, it was really good. So yeah,
happy days. Yeah, no, it looks awesome, man. You've done a wicked job. So next job, what do we do? There's a couple of things we can do, but it's like, which one do we pick? It's just like
I'm probably going to pick, I don't know, the easiest thing. I might do the hardest thing. I don't know. It depends how I'm feeling on the day, but there's still heaps of little stuff to do. Yeah, I don't know. You guys will see on the next episode anyway what we do. So
absolutely. So make sure you stick around. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and make sure you hit that subscribe button down the bottom of the screen so you'll know when we got our next episode up. But until the next one, we'll catch you around.
See you guys.